I'm Cheryl McCarthy. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the superintendent of Joliet Township, and I also serve on the chamber board. And I'm really excited to introduce our guest speakers today because education is so important in the lives of everyone. And we have two new leaders who hit the ground running in July 1st, no doubt, and they've been busy ever since. And I know you're going to be pleasantly pleased when you hear about a little bit about their history and a little bit about their vision for the future. Because we're going to do ladies first, it's going to be my pleasure to introduce Dr. Teresa Rouse. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Teresa, but Teresa, come up here. I feel like I've known Teresa forever because she hit the ground running and she really immediately got to know just about everyone in the community already. And it's still October.
Barely, but yes.
That's incredible. So Dr. Rouse became a superintendent of schools for Joliet Public Schools District 86 in July. She came to Joliet from King City Union School District in California, where she served as the superintendent for 4 years. And I said, really, you're coming to Illinois from California? I can't wait to text her in the middle of those nights in the winter.
Yeah, when I'm wanting to call school off.
Exactly. And I say, no, we don't call school off for a little ice. Prior to that, she spent 5 years at Santa Cruz County Office of Education in Santa Cruz, California, where she served in a variety of roles, including Associate Superintendent of Ed Services. She has 29 years of education experience.
Good hair color.
Teresa is happy to be back in the Midwest. She's originally from Marion, Indiana. She holds a doctorate degree in educational leadership from Argosy University in Phoenix, Arizona, and a master's degree in education from Indiana Wesleyan University in Marion. She received her Bachelor's of Arts degree in education from Central Bible College in Springfield, Missouri. She currently supervises just a few people, 11,735 students, and grades pre-K through 8th grade. She oversees 1,483 employees in 23 buildings and a $151 million budget. Great news for District 86, and everyone in Joliet is so proud of this. Eisenhower Academy was named a 2016 National Blue Ribbon School, and Dr. Rouse will be accompanying the principal and a teacher to the 2-day award ceremony. Wait, because you're going to like where it's at, in Washington, D.C. in November, Election Day, November, to celebrate the achievement. She currently serves as director on the Joliet Grades Foundation for Excellence, a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and a member of Joliet Rotary Club International. And she also belongs to a numerous state and national education and other organizations. So please help me welcome Dr. Rouse.
I have nothing left to say. Just said it all. Of course, in coming to Joliet, it's been interesting because if you ever want to know where is Cheryl, everywhere, like Lisa. I'm like, okay, there's Cheryl. Oh, Cheryl's running that committee. Of course she is. So it's been a pleasure getting to know my education colleagues, and we have a lot of great superintendent time together, which is fabulous. I am originally from Indiana, and it is like coming home to come to Joliet, and I think that's why it's been so easy to hit the ground running, because it feels like I'm back home. I'm really happy with how the community has just kind of opened their arms to my coming here. Some people might have thought at first, ooh, California, is she going to really fit in? Well, I kind of fit in. It's all good, you know. Anyway, yeah, I do have a large district. Joliet 86 is a lot of people, a lot of places, and I feel like I'm on the move all the time. I was telling the school board, you know, my goal is at least once a month in every one of the school sites. So the 23 buildings, there's 21 schools. So I bought a Fitbit. Because I'm like, I want to know how many steps that was. And it's a little scary. So, you know, there's a lot to be said for where District 86 is and where we are going. Eisenhower getting this award is a great way to begin this first year. Being in Washington, D.C. on the 7th and 8th of November is a little unnerving, but I'm planning on being on the plane before the polls close. Just in case, because if you're not going to accept the results, then all right, here we go. Our district is very diverse. We have about 59% Hispanic population, about 25% African American, 12% Caucasian, 3% multi-race. So very diverse. A lot of special things come when you have a diverse district. One of those being that we serve 8,200 lunches daily for free. None of our students are charged for any of the lunches in our district. The level of poverty, as you know, is high in this area. And so we are able to capitalize upon the National School Lunch Program and provide meals for our students. The theme and the message in which we going forward with this year, coming in new to a district, you hear a lot of people like to tell you, well, last year and 5 years ago, we've always done it this way. So I keep telling people, we can sit here and spin all day long, or we can take steps forward. I can't change the past, but we can influence the future. So together, we're locking arms and influencing the future. So our theme for this year is about building capacity for hope. Why did I land on hope? When you look around our nation, we need to infuse hope into our system. There's a lot of depressing news these days. I'm so glad we're done with the political debates, because it's kind of depressing to think that that's what we have to offer for presidential candidates. But I'm not going to go there. Anyway, the notion of hope, how are we bringing hope in? So the way I look at hope is I break it apart as an acronym. The H for me is all about humor. If you can't have a good time doing what you're doing, you need to find something else to do. And when we look at students in classrooms, if they aren't able to enjoy learning, we're doing something wrong. Because learning should be pleasurable. There should be pleasure in what we're doing as we're teaching them what we need to each day. The O in hope for me stands for optimism. Optimism is an attitude, but it's also a choice. You make a decision every single day. Am I going to be optimistic about what's happening today, or am I going to throw a little negative spin in there? So optimism. How are we being optimistic about our future? The P stands for perspective. We can't change our circumstances, but we sure as the world can change how we look at them. I have a couple of cats at home. Sorry, I got a dog over here, but I got a couple cats at home. My male cat, when he looks in the mirror, he doesn't see a black cat, he sees a lion. That's his perspective, and trust me, that's how he acts. He behaves that way. That's his perspective. What do our students see when they look in the mirror? What do you see when you look in the mirror? Hopefully you see where you're going and not just where you've been. Perspective. The E in hope is all about expectation. Not a checklist of things we have to get done, but what are we expecting for our future? So my charge to our staff today, this year as we kicked off the year, was how are we bringing hope into our classrooms? How are we infusing hope in everything we do? How are we helping build our students up, build up the youth of Joliet, so that we can be sure we're going to have a better future? Because if we don't build up that hope in them, where are we going to be? I'd like to think there's a positive side on the other end of this. And our students, all nearly 12,000 of them, feeding into the high school district, my hope is that we're feeding in children that are ready for their future and ready to jump in, hit that career path and go. As we work together, as we link arms as business, as education, we're all partners in this. We can't do it alone. We have to have our partners. And that's why I've been out and about, hit the ground running, and been at all the community events that I could get to. We have to work together, we have to pull this off, and I want to count you as partners in hope for the youth of Joliet. Thank you very much.
Dr. Livingston also began on July 1st. He has more than 15 years of academic and leadership experience. His knowledge of the operational functions of the university and the needs of its various student populations will guide the institution to new heights. Dr. Livingston previously served as the president of Lourdes University since 2013. During his tenure, Lourdes experienced an increase in the quality, retention, and graduation rates of its students, expanded academic programs, and renovated the campus to support their strategic growth initiatives, and successfully completed a capital campaign. Prior to his presidency there, he served Mercyhurst University for 16 years in various diverse capacities, including president of the Faculty Senate and vice president for advancement. Prior to that, he taught religious studies at Loyola Academy High School in Wilmette, Vanderbilt University in Nashville, University of St. Francis in Joliet, competition there, Joliet Catholic Academy, and Loyola University of Chicago. And I think we've already got him signed up to do some ethics training with our students. His accomplishments in his academic and administrative roles include developing a study abroad program, establishing an international campus in Ireland, raising funds for a new $10.5 million academic building, as well as managing the construction and achieving the $30 million mark 2 years ahead of schedule on a $50 million capital campaign. A native of Dundee, he received his bachelor's degree in chemistry from Augustana College, in theology from Loyola University, and his PhD in theology from Vanderbilt University. His scholarship focuses on the theological and ethical aspects of forgiveness and reconciliation. His primary concentration is interpreting religious and cultural responses to domestic violence. He and his wife, Joan, a clinical social worker, have seen their academic and professional careers take them to many cities throughout Illinois and other locations including Europe, Mexico, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Ohio. They also enjoy spending time with their adult children, Matt and Sarah. Please help me welcome Dr. Livingston.
Thank you so much. It is great to be here. I appreciate the invitation. And you know, what I would like to do, just a couple quick kind of additions to the bio that I appreciate talking about. But I grew up in the area. I grew up in Dundee, as I said at the table. Those people of a certain age know it from Santa's Village or the Milk Pail. Right? So if you know Dundee, it's Santa's Village and the Milk Pail. That's my stomping grounds. And my mother, who's 85, still lives up there, and it is great to be back. As was said, we've wandered around the career, or around the country for our career, and always wanted to be back in the Chicago area. But I really wanted to be a president in a Catholic university. That means that moving from the Toledo area, there were really 6 jobs that were available, which is a different kind of thing. All of you are in business, and if you said there's only 6 jobs in the country I'm willing to move for, that was the limitation. And they don't open up all the time. If you know Brother James, he was in this role for 28 years. So these jobs, they don't just open up every day. I am incredibly fortunate to inherit an institution, Lewis University, which is in an amazingly strong position relative to higher ed, private higher ed in Illinois, and I would say in our region. We're the 7th largest private higher ed institutions in Illinois. We have about 6,500 students. As most of you know, one of our strengths is that we started from and continue to excel in aviation. Aviation transportation was where we started when the land was given to the diocese in 1932 in the middle of the Depression. People said, how could we give young men, at that point young men, an opportunity to compete in the economy? And what was new at that time was aviation. And so they said, if we can give high school boys an opportunity to learn how to fix planes and potentially fly planes from Chicago, we will give them a job in the future. These were 4 young boys in the middle of the Depression. Fast forward, 1932 to 2016, we still have about 700 of our students that are in aviation, but we are now strong in nursing, one of the largest private nursing schools in the state. A very strong business program, 2,000 graduate students, most of those graduate students in business or in nursing. So we have a strong graduate presence in aviation and in the sciences. And we're becoming better and better known for our STEM fields. So when you, if you get a chance to come over to Lewis, and please, if you come to Lewis, please stop by my office. I'd be happy to give you a tour. But we just added recently a new science building. And the new science building has really allowed us to upgrade our ability to serve in those fields. So we had 5 years ago 30 students in computer science. We now have 250. So the area of computer science and where we see ourselves going is in many of the areas that we are not sure exactly what they're going to look like, but we have a directionality to them. In our aviation field, we have an unmanned aerial systems degree, so a drone program, right? We're seeing significant growth there because the FAA just changed the rules in July of this year. Used to have a pilot's license in order to get a bachelor's degree in unmanned aviation. And now we have moved, the country has moved us so where you don't have to have that. We believe that not only will there be unmanned aviation systems that are going to be really important, but driverless vehicles. So not just the 3D space, but the 2D space. And we have a lot of capacity in that area to be able to grow because we already do it in the 3D space. We have a very strong computer science area, and we see ourselves as being one of the players in educating the next generation. Now, I guess I'd like to close, because I've talked about several of our colleges, but the College of Education is really where we started in terms of John Baptist de La Salle. So our founder of the Order of the Christian Brothers in the 1700s in France, again, looked at poor children and said, how can I help them by giving them some basic skills in education in that kind of, what we would call K through 12 education now. And where we're at now is we still serve. We have an excellent College of Education, but our principles are around educating the underserved and offering an excellent education for everyone who comes. And so we have a lot of first-generation students. There were some comments about what the Chamber does for students in the Joliet area to get them to think about college for those that are first-generation students. At Lewis, we really believe in that, and we know that when we have somebody who's nobody in their family's ever gone to college and they come to Lewis and graduate, they oftentimes meet somebody else to partner with and get married, somebody else who graduated from college, and the odds of those people's children going to college go through the roof, okay, compared to somebody who nobody in my family's ever gone, and now both my parents have gone. And so what we do, and it's not just us, we have great partners, St. Francis, North Central, St. Xavier, lots of people do this. But what I get excited about is that we changed whole family lines, right? The Smith family or the Jones family will never be the same when both of those parents are college educated. And we do a lot of that. We transform families because they come to us, nobody in their family's ever gotten a degree, and then they leave, and all their descendants will get a degree. And that's exciting. And I am very proud to be here at Lewis and here in the community. I look forward to meeting those of you that I haven't met, and we're excited about our future. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here and supporting our two new leaders in this community. I know they'll appreciate meeting each and every one of you, and have a wonderful day.